Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Oner First Thoughts. This is the portion of our show that is spoiler-free, where we're just giving our initial thoughts on a movie, just generalized statements about how we felt about it. If you want to watch our spoiler talk about this film, it's over on the main channel in the bigger video. But this week we are talking about Backrooms, as is everybody else on the internet. Backrooms and Obsession have absolutely taken over the internet. They've taken over culture. They've taken over they've captured the imagination of film fans everywhere. These two movies have decimated Star Wars at the box office and given movie theaters one of their best weekends since the pandemic, and it's pretty amazing. Kane Parsons is the director here, 20-year-old Kane Parsons. A lot of people talking about the age of this director. The question is, does he actually have the sauce? Can he get it done, or is it kind of a gimmick? I didn't find it to be a gimmick at all. I feel like Kane Parsons has more than enough sauce to have earned himself a spot at the table and to get another picture made and hopefully another one after that. And I will be there, lined up for it. I would like to see more from the Backrooms universe. Although I will say that, like, I'm a viewer who's not particularly interested in having all of the questions that exist in Kane Parsons' version of this lore answered. I don't want to know everything. I don't want to have every T crossed and every I dotted. I want to leave some stuff to my imagination, and I liked that about this movie. I like that by the end of the film, not all of the questions are answered, and I like that there's a lot left to my imagination, and that is what this film did for me. This film captured my imagination in a way that was just really, really exciting. I dreamt of the Backrooms for 2 nights straight after watching this film, because this movie is about liminal spaces and the idea of looking at something that is both new and familiar at the same time, and that weird the essence of that, something that looks like a place you've been to but also looks like a world that is new and exciting and intriguing. And how they managed to capture that in this film. I'm not saying anything about liminal horror and liminal spaces that hasn't already been said a million times on the internet, but we have been using this sort of phrase on the channel this year of, like, if the Oscars were tomorrow, I would nominate this film for blank. And sometimes the answer to that fill in the blank is, I would nominate this film for nothing. It's not very good. But sometimes, there's a lot of things. Like when we talked about the drama, it was like, I would nominate the drama for both acting categories for our leads, maybe a supporting actor nom for Alana Haim. I would nominate, for Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, Best Editing, Best Sound Mixing, Best Picture. This film, Backrooms, and I think a lot of people are going to say this, I would nominate it for Production Design if the Oscars were tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see it get a nomination, even being released this early in the year, just because of what a big presence the production design is in the film. I mean, the movie is called Backrooms. Its title is about the production design. The production design is the film, and it's in many ways the biggest character in the film is the scenic design, and the work that is done here is really, really fantastic. This movie is not as universally praised as Obsession is by Curry Barker. I think people who are comparing the two are kind of missing the point. They're not, just because they're released 2 weeks apart from each other and they're both made by YouTubers in their 20s doesn't mean that they're the same movie or that they're meant to be compared to each other. They're both horror films, but they're both in very specific subgenres and niches of horror, and I personally like both of them a lot. I like Backrooms a little more than I like Obsession. That's just my personal subjective taste, but I know why Backrooms isn't getting as much universal praise heaped on it as Obsession is, and I think it's just because it's a little more niche. It doesn't have that broad appeal that Obsession has, that immediate relatability. It's a little bit more cerebral, a little bit more surreal, a little bit more philosophical. And, not to say that Obsession doesn't have cerebral and philosophical themes to it. I think Obsession is doing a thing where it's taking a bunch of horror tropes and executing them very well. There's a lot of just tropes that you've seen a million times in different horror movies about possession and just things that happen in those films, the body moving in a weird way, someone throwing up, self-mutilation, hitting yourself in the head with something, and smashing your face through a window. Obsession has a lot of that stuff, and it just executes those things really well. Whereas Backrooms to me is attempting something newer. Like the only other film that I can think of, I mean, a lot of people are saying David Lynch, but the film that I keep coming back to is Inception. Inception was the last time that I watched a movie that was about dreams and was trying to cinematically communicate the feeling of what it's like to be in a dream space. And I've always really liked Inception for Christopher Nolan's take on that, and I feel like there are moments in Obsession or in the movie Inception where Christopher Nolan really nails the feeling of what it's like to be in a dream. But I've never seen the feeling of what it's like to be in a dream, at least for my subjective experience of what it's like to be in a dream, nailed as much as it is here. And I feel like what this movie manages to capture as far as just that sort of ineffable, unnameable quality of the human experience and what it's like to be a conscious being, and what it's like to exist with a human brain and human mind, and to get lost in your own memories and to get lost in the space between memory and future tripping, and the difference between exploring space on the interior and the exterior space that you exist in. This movie, it really got me going in a really exciting way. The actors are all great in the film. There's a lot to really like about it, but there's not much more I can say about it without getting into spoilers, and that's what we'll do on the podcast. And I will now turn it over to my co-host Kramer to hear his thoughts. So take it away, Kramer.
Thanks, Austin. Okay, we're talking Backrooms. Spoiler free. First thoughts on Backrooms, that is doing extremely well at the box office. A lot of people are talking about it. This was obviously an internet sensation before it became a movie. The one who kind of started, I mean, he didn't start the whole Backrooms, but he's the one who really seemed to put it into the mainstream. Kane Parsons is the one who directed it, which good for him. He's 20 years old. He started this when he was 16. I think it's pretty amazing that this kid was able to do this and make something that's been so widely accepted and has gained, really captured people's imaginations. I think that's awesome for him. I think he did a great job. I did see some very small things that could have been amateurish, but honestly, that is so nitpicky. And it's more probably just because I'm jealous of him as that he gets this opportunity. But honestly, really good for him. He made a really good movie. Here's the thing. I'm not, this is spoiler free. I'm not going to give anything away, but I really enjoyed this movie. I think it was a really intriguing story. I love the concept of Backrooms. Not as scary as you might think. Doesn't mean it's not scary, but it's not as scary as you might think, right? It's more eerie. It's a little more off-putting. But I really, really enjoyed it. I went to see this with my son, who is obviously younger, but the younger generation is really catching on to this, which is great. Here's the thing about this movie. I would definitely recommend seeing it in the theater. Is a great experience. Seeing it on a big screen too, just kind of, I don't know, just makes it feel even better. This is the thing though about the movie. If you have preconceived notions about Backrooms, if you know all about it, if you've really looked into it, if you have your own, ideas of what Backrooms should be careful going into the movie, just because it's probably not going to be what you think. Just lower your expectations. If you have ideas of what it should do or what it's going to do, like, you might not enjoy it. And that seems to be some of the chatter I'm seeing online, is people had expectations and they didn't like it because it didn't meet their expectations, or it didn't really, come to what they thought it was going to. And so just, if that is your thing, if you've loved Backrooms, just keep your mind open. Just know it's probably not going to be what you expect. If it is what you expect, then that's great. But if it's not what you expect, you can still enjoy the movie. If you don't have a real huge concept of Backrooms, I think you're going to like it. It's a really interesting world. I think it's a great way to get into the internet culture. I've watched a lot more of the videos that Kane Parsons has done. And it's really intriguing. I think it's a really cool story, but I went into it that way through the movie rather than through all the internet videos and all those things. So just something to keep in mind. I mean, I think it's always good to have low expectations with most movies. For me, I always want to like a movie. So if you go in with low expectations, you usually have a better time, right? But again, if you have preconceived notions, just be aware of that. Be aware. You might not get what you want or what you're expecting. But I really liked it. I think there's a lot of deeper meaning in this film. King Parsons uses the found footage style very effectively in portions of this movie. It's obviously not all found footage, but it's really good. And the ending I really liked. I think there's going to be people who don't like it as much as I did, but go see it, see for yourself. I think this is awesome. The great thing about this is that this is a movie that it's based on an internet concept, but this is an original idea. And this is, especially from Kane Parsons, not the Backrooms as a whole, but this story is pretty much an original idea. And Obsession was an original idea, not based on anything, right? These are two movies that are doing extremely well at the box office. And go see these movies, because if we want more of these movies, we need to see these movies. And I'm really, really grateful that both of these movies are done very well. You don't have to like them, but because they're done so well, they're doing really well at the box office. And if you want more original movies, go out and see it, right? If you don't want more sequels, if you don't want more superhero movies, even though I like them, I don't care as long as it's a good story, right? But support the movies that you want more of them to come out, right? So go see this movie. Let us know what you think in the comments. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think of it? Was it what you expected? If you are a Backrooms fan, if you're not a Backrooms fan, if you're coming into this kind of blind like I was, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let us know your comment. Let us know what you think in the comments. Let's start a conversation, and we will see you on that.